Let's be honest. Most of the North Country is not like, say, Lake Placid, full of jobs and businesses and events and things to do. Most of our towns struggle to reinvent themselves, to create good-paying jobs, to give locals a reason to stay and outsiders a reason to visit and maybe even put down roots. Today, 3 people who chose Ogdensburg, the struggling city on the St. Lawrence River. Or maybe it chose them. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Long Run Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor in Lake Placid, providing comprehensive wealth management, retirement, and financial planning solutions. LongRunWealth.com. And from SciTech Business Solutions, training and consulting services to help businesses grow. More information at citec.org.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Wednesday, May 3rd. First up, New York lawmakers stayed up late to complete the state budget, which was more than a month overdue. As Karen DeWitt reports, the $229 billion package includes changes to bail reform laws, the minimum wage, and new requirements to shift people to clean energy.
Governor Kathy Hochul, in her first year elected to office, saw some wins, including changes to the state's controversial bail reform laws that will give judges more discretion to choose bail when dealing with people accused of serious crimes. New requirements for electrification of new homes and building construction kick in 2026 and 2028, and the minimum wage will start to rise to $17 in New York City and $16 for the rest of the state in 3 years. After that, it will automatically increase annually at the rate of inflation. The budget also includes a crackdown on illegal cannabis shops, and it will allow 22 more charter schools to open. Hochul, speaking as lawmakers began passing the final bills, says the package was worth the wait.
When New Yorkers look back, they don't care so much about the time element involved, because that time element gave me the necessary time to really get signature bills and ideas over the finish line.
There were some things left out of the budget. One of the governor's major proposals to build 800,000 new units of housing over the next decade was rejected by Democrats who lead the Senate and Assembly over a proposal to give the state the authority to override local zoning laws. Legislators also did not agree to Hochul's plan to ban menthol and other flavored cigarettes, though they did consent to raise the tax on cigarettes by $1 per pack. The governor, for her part, thwarted an attempt by the legislature to raise taxes on the rich. Assembly Speaker Carl Hastie says overall, though, he's satisfied with the spending plan.
I would say when you take out, some of the policy stuff, I think this checked a lot of boxes on the things that the members of the Assembly support. Maybe not at the levels that the members would have liked, but I would say this might be the best non-pandemic budget I've seen in my 23 years in the Assembly.
The legislature now has just over 5 weeks until the 2023 session ends. In Albany, I'm Karen DeWitt.
The city of Ogdensburg in St. Lawrence County is turning 155 years old. Over the weekend, a group of transplants helped organize a small celebration at the Dobisky Center on the St. Lawrence River. Monica Sandreski caught up with them about why they wanted to celebrate Ogdensburg.
Wherever you live, it's worth celebrating. We have the beautiful St. Lawrence River. What's not to celebrate? So clean air, beautiful river, fabulous people. It's everything to celebrate. My name's Wendy Hamilton, and I live here in the Burke, and I've lived in Pennsylvania, I've lived in Saskatchewan, I've lived in South Carolina. That's where I came from. I moved here from South Carolina. And the first thing anybody says is, why? And what's interesting? Life isn't all about good weather. You have to find your people. You have to be comfortable in the community that you're living in. And I feel comfortable here. And I think, I found my people.
What brought you to the area?
Well, actually, I wanted to move to Canada. I'm from Canada, and I wanted to move along the St. Lawrence in Canada, but COVID had other plans, and there was really nothing available. So I started to look on this side, and then my brother said to me, wasn't our grandfather born here? And I looked into it, and yes, he was born here in Ogdensburg, so it was fate. And I said, all right, it's not where I want to be, but it's where I am, so all right, dig in. Let's have it. Come on. And I started seeking out all the other newbies here in town. And we have a group called the Ogdensburg Newbies and Wise Guides. So in that group, I stalked people on Facebook who said, "Oh, I'm new here. Does anyone know?" And so I would DM them and say, "I'm new too, and we've got a group. I think we're gonna see good things here. I'm gonna help make it happen because I have to, because I live here. I'm not gonna go and close my door. You're not gonna do that and say, oh well, it is what it is. Let's drive to Ottawa for everything. Let's go to Watertown for no. We're gonna bring it here. We're gonna make it happen here."
Kathleen Weir, Weir, used to be Kathleen Langto, so if anybody recognizes that name. I still have a brother and a sister here, so a lot of family. I went to high school here, so that is my whole experience of being an Ogdensburg native. And then I left, and I came back 40 years later. I spent 3 decades in California. I lived in Colorado, New Mexico, Oregon, Florida, been around. And I decided after 30 years in LA that I really didn't like the weather. So I needed to come back to where the seasons are. There's something magical about the light here. The light is amazing here. And geographically, I feel like it's the right place for me, like I'm grounded, or geologically, geographically, I don't know how to say it, but spiritually. And the fact that the Amish live here, so it's 2 sets of people in the same place in different times. That's magical. And I think there's a portal somewhere around here. I do. And I love it here. I love the seasons. There's not a day. I don't complain about the weather. I love the weather no matter what it is here. I love it. So I'm happy and trying to get my adult children to move out here. They're in their 30s. So far the answer is maybe. One of the main things that I love about the North Country is that I love to dance, and there's so many fun honky-tonks around here where you can go out dancing on a Sunday afternoon, on a Friday night, a Saturday night. There's an AmVets in Hewelton. There's one in Lisbon. There's one in Governor. You'll see people in their 60s, 70s. I sat next to a lady the other night that's 86, and she was up on that dance floor every time, every song, fast or slow. So that's a good energy for me, too, that I'm thriving on here. I'm going to get these 2 to go out dancing soon.
Absolutely. You just telling me, I love dancing. I'm there.
Yeah, right.
So my name is C.T. Ayler. I live close to the gorgeous post office. I didn't really move here by choice, to be honest. I imported my American husband across the border to Canada. Then when COVID hit, he was forced back to stay here because he works for the Department of Defense. And I had said, let's just try to find a place as close to the border. And honestly, it was Ogdensburg, looking at the houses, looking at the property. Ken, my husband, had come up here a few times, and he said, this is a really nice place. I see kids playing in the street, and I think we should move here. And then, of course, we fell in love with our home. It's a little bit big for me. There sounds like there might be a bit of a negative attitude about the town, but I think Wendy was right when she said there's a fatigue from all of the hardships, but if you start talking to them, but look at the park here, look at this, you can see a little bit of pride start to happen. They're like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, no, this is a great town. It's like, you haven't left, right? So obviously it's still pretty good. And they're like, yeah, you're right. It's just reminding them that there's a reason why they're still here. And I think it gives them a sense of feeling some pride, some civic pride again. So important.
Those are Ogdensburg residents Wendy Hamilton, Kathleen Weir, and C.T. Ayler. The story was produced by Monica Sandreski. We have more news all the time on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Caitlin Scholl of Lake Placid and Paul Meyer of Colton. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.